Hi. So our last vid that we posted or we just recorded and we will be posting
Shortly.
shortly. Anyway, we did the Spartan race today. This vid is not on the Spartan race. The last one was, and we'll be talking about sex. But we apologize ahead of time for the coughing and the voices and the because we tired.
We figured this would be a good opportunity to be very candid about sex because we really don't
We
care
don't
right
give a
now,
fuck right now, not one bit. No fucks given. So
which is maybe the problem sometimes. But
so yes, sex. Um, Wow, Aspie's come in so many flavors. I just the light amount of research I've done. Uh, there is no one way of talking about it. Uh,
so we're
I
gonna go based off of our experiences in it.
yeah,
So
I'll give you a good example because one guy online swore that all Aspies were gay because he was an Aspie and he was gay. Another guy swore that all or girl swore that all Aspies who had sex were faking it because they were asexuals because she was asexual. True story. They couldn't imagine the other side of the equation. And one was bi, and he just thought everyone was bi because he was bi. It's just very, holding up a mirror and going, well, clearly everyone looks like me. Um,
which is a very Aspie trait.
Very Aspie trait.
Very Aspie trait.
So I'm gonna say that Aspies run the gamut, and there are Asperger's definitely interferes with our sex life. We'll be doing one on. We talked about relationships with one on dating, but not tonight. We have no brain. And sex. I have a when my body isn't trying to betray me and isn't trying to screw me up,
He has a rather active sex drive.
sex drive, and I always have. Since the first time I lost my virginity, and I've talked about that. That I lost my virginity when I was 18 as a freshman in college. Um, that's kind of middle, early. I'd say it's about early for a lot of Aspies. I met plenty who were very young, 14, 13, maybe 12. I won't confirm or deny. I've heard some people. She was 16.
But I'm not an Aspie.
Not an Aspie. Most neurotypicals actually, 16, 18 is very normal for neurotypicals.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that 18 to 20 is pretty normal for Aspies. So if you're out there and never run into Aspies who are like, I'm 18, I'm still a virgin, I'm never going to have sex. Well, you're going to live for 72 more years.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
Calm
down.
okay?
You'll find sex.
You'll find sex. In fact, generally, you find sex when you stop looking for it. It's a friend of mine from high school once said, I go looking for sex, I find love. I go looking for love, I find sex. Humans are weird. Welcome to the human race. I have a fairly healthy sex drive. I have a very hard time um,
Keeping your paws to yourself when I am so not in the mood.
Yeah. I married a beautiful woman to me. There's like we've spoken of the line that Amy Pond says that you meet somebody and their looks are just okay, but the more you know them, the more you fall in love with the person that's inside, and then the person that's inside becomes their face to you, and their beauty that's inside becomes outside. And then she says, Rory's the most beautiful man I've ever met. She's the most beautiful woman I've ever met. I saw her today after the race, and she was, and she looked like a deflated cream puff, but it's like the least attractive she's ever been the entire time we were together, and I didn't feel less attracted to her at all because that was my wife and I loved her. Not that I had a sex drive after the Spartan race. If some beautiful woman walked up to me naked, we're having sex. No, we're not. Damn it. Um, like you couldn't have caught me 2 days ago. I have, like I said, I have a very normal sex drive. She doesn't right now.
Yeah, my sex drive does this.
Depending upon stress in life and biology and how much she's had to eat that day.
Yeah.
And she's come up to me at 1 in the morning, like literally as I'm about to pass out and go to bed. She's, honey, what? Oh, you're not in the mood? I'm like, it's 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m.? Shit. I have to be up at 8 and I'm horny as hell. And then she looked down like, God damn you. Why did you have to do this to me now? He was awake and active 4 hours ago. This was true. And I've had the same thing happen. And if that happens to you, consider it normal. Sex is funky and weird. Get what you can when you can. Don't push for it. Uh,
Okay, but sex from a neurotypical standpoint with at least this Aspie really doesn't have a whole lot of distinction between an Aspie and a neurotypical, as far as my personal experiences have been. There are times where he's a little more attentive and times where he's less attentive. So
Same from her. More attention types.
I've had pretty much a good range of sexual partners, and I've had
Ooh, real quick break. Get a range of sexual partners, okay? The average person, the average American, let's just say Americans, everyone out of the country, I'm sorry, I only have America. There's 350 million of us, and we're big, so I couldn't really get a lot of the data. 7 partners, okay? Including her, that's 7 for me. It was almost 8 once, but alas, didn't happen. And we can go into that. When women change their mind and they're buck naked, you just gotta say okay and roll with it, even if you have
a raging hard
a
on.
raging hard on so bad you could build a house with it. Your mind will fill in the rest. But her, I've been with women who've had well over 100 partners. That's a little extreme, but they were nice people.
I'm a little more mid range on
She's
it.
mid range. She's high average, is what it is. But 7 is average. So don't unless the sky's open and the sunlight comes down, you don't necessarily stay with the. Okay, I'm going to leave the relationship advice to your own mind and your own experiences in the moment. But I am going to say,
sex
don't
advice.
Sex wise, don't just marry the first person you sleep with because the sex was wonderful and oh my god and groundbreaking. You don't know.
You have no basis of comparison.
No basis of comparison. You're in this little box. I had a girlfriend who, when I slept with her, I was the 115th person and the 98th man that she had been with. When she said I was good in bed, I had a range of people for her to. I've been with 2 guys and you were the best. Oh, thanks. But she'd been with 98 men and I was in the top third, so.
Yeah.
Woo.
And for my personal, is he the most awesome person in bed that I've ever had? No, but he sure as hell is consistent.
And is she the best in bed I've ever had? No. But
there's something to be said for there being more than just sex.
Oh God, yes.
So
The sex,
just
when you get old enough and you get mature enough, sex has to be a certain level, and once it hits there, you just kind of don't pay attention anymore. Okay, it's good enough. I have other things to worry about, and we have a lot in common. And as you know from watching the series, I love her very much, and she me, and been together, going over a year. We're still going strong. Life's awesome. We're also much more mature. She's had a marriage and been divorced. I have never been married, but I'm in my mid 30s, and
meeting him 5 or 6 years ago probably wouldn't have been such a good thing.
She wouldn't have liked me when I was her age.
Well, obviously not.
Well, we were 16. But if I had been 26 and she had met me at 26, her being 26, she wouldn't have wanted to date me. I was a schmuck. In fact, I've been a schmuck most of my life. I'm pretty much still a schmuck, but I'm a less
schmucky schmuck.
I'm a little smoother with the rough edges.
I regularly knock a couple off.
But yeah, as for sex, yeah, it's weird. Don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. Try not to marry the first person you have sex with just because you had sex with them.
And remember, if you like a person and you want to have sex with them, that doesn't mean that your relationship has to end. It also doesn't mean that it has to go on forever.
Right.
Just because you have sex with someone that you know and like, it doesn't have to change
Friends
everything.
with benefits is a real thing. They've done the studies. It's come out. It's not as common as most people think, but it's only by a little bit. It turns out it's actually a lot more common than most of the scientists thought and a lot less common than most people think. It turns out to be a healthy number, so it does happen.
In fact, I've had sex with benefits for a number of friends.
Sex with benefits?
Friends with benefits. Excuse me. I'm a little punch drunk still. I've had friends with benefits who later moved on to a solid relationship and got married, and I'm friends with both the married couple, the friend who was a friend before, and the spouse.
She introduced me to these two people. I think they're awesome.
Yeah,
Actually,
they're
we've had them
great.
over a few times, and I miss them. But they're hundreds of miles away now, and yeah, she casually mentioned offhand, oh, by the way, I had sex with him, and that's where I was like, okay, whatever. We're married. It's not a big deal. I married her for who she is, not who I thought she was, and that's something else. You know, um, you may have sex with somebody, and then afterwards find out that they're a very different person. I once had sex with somebody because she wore me down. I swear to God, I kept saying no, and then one day she caught me when I was really horny and had no sense. And then afterwards, I was like, well, that's good. I got that out of my system. I'm not dating this person
Ever.
ever. And she's met said person and went, wow. And well, that was 80 pounds ago. But look, I've had one night stands. I've had more than a few one night stands, and I've actually had as many relationships, sexual, with girlfriends as I have had
Without girlfriends.
without an equal amount. I was a bit of a slut for a while. I found it easier to sleep with women and to make that kind of connection and put on enough of a
You
mask to get
didn't
through that.
qualify as a slut.
Well, I felt. And the reason why I stopped one night stands was because I just didn't like them anymore. I wasn't getting as much out of them as I thought, and it was just too much. It was too much pain in the ass. Uh, so I stopped. It wasn't a moral or ethical thing. It was I'm tired of this shit thing. So yes, I'm an Aspie. I've had one night stands. Um, I've made the transition to girlfriends and sex, and that was a lot better. Um, it's a complicated subject. I can tell you that when I'm in bed with a woman, yes, I do think about a lot of other things. In fact, it's like the filter that keeps back my mind from trying to think 1,000 things at once goes away, and she's yeah,
I've
she's
watched it tick through his brain
yeah,
while I'm, having sex with him. It's an interesting process.
and so I've come out the other side and gone, that was really fun. By the way, I figured out how to fix so and so, such and such thing. And she went, when did you? I was like, well, while we were in bed together, I figured that out. I wasn't trying to. It just and that's
Happens.
and that's literally been with every single woman I've ever been with. And I've talked to other Aspies, and they went, "You too? How do I stop that?" I'm like, "Let me know when you figure it out." So yeah, expect on the Aspie side of things, what you hear neurotypicals go through may very well not be what you go through, and that's okay. And the main thing is don't freak out, don't flip out, and don't uh, treat your partners, whether they be one night stands or romantic, with less respect. Um, and don't be a schlub.
And what for neurotypicals, don't put your Aspie in a box. Um, just don't. It's a bad idea. And because remember, 31 flavors, 31 flavors of Aspie, and basically remind your partner or whatever that you are with that if they're an Aspie, that just because they like it one way does not mean that you do.
Communication
Is
is the
key.
key to a happy, healthy sex life. We have tried many things. Some things she likes, some things I like. Some things we both go, well, that's a situational thing that both of us enjoy, depending.
Mm-hmm.
Other things we went, huh,
Nah.
no. And we kind of joked about BDSM, for example. And we looked into it, and our reaction wasn't, oh, you, or oh, yes. It was, God, that looks tiring.
And we did some dabbling, both of us at separate times and together. And it was,
Mostly domination submission.
but some dabbling, and it just wasn't for either of us. So remember, just because you are all in for one thing doesn't mean your partner will be or that anyone else in the world is.
Oh, and never top from the bottom. If you know what I mean, great. And if you don't, hey, don't worry about it.
Have a nice night, guys. Talk to you later.